Heartwarming moment, poor girl saves freezing boy, unbeknownst to her he's a billionaire's son. Lily's breath came out like puffs of smoke as she trudged through the biting cold. Snow swirled around her, creating a magical, frozen world that only seemed to amplify the quiet struggles in her heart. The diner was barely staying afloat, the weight of her responsibilities resting heavy on her shoulders. As she made her way past the park, she noticed a figure wrapped in a jacket that looked far too slight for the harsh winter. Curiosity pulled her closer. As she approached, she realized it was a boy, huddled on the bench, shivering. He looked lost amidst the flurries of white, and so very alone. Without thinking, she pulled off her colorful scarf and draped it around him. "You'll catch your death out here," she exclaimed, her voice firm but laced with warmth. His blue eyes flicked up to hers, confusion mixing with gratitude. "Thanks," he managed, teeth chattering. This was Jake, a newcomer to her town, who had just been thrust into a whirlwind of privilege he never truly asked for. But Lily didn't know any of that, she only saw a boy in need. In that moment, they shared an unspoken understanding, igniting a connection neither expected. Days turned into evenings, and through the cold, their friendship blossomed. Lily found adventures in their small, struggling town, sharing laughter in the diner, chasing snowflakes, and swapping stories over hot chocolate. With every moment spent with Jake, the crushing weight of her responsibilities lightened. Jake saw in Lily a glimpse of freedom from the suffocating expectations his father placed upon him. But whispers began to stir in the community, eyes darting between the unforeseen friendship. They admired Lily's heart, the way she embraced the world with open arms despite her challenges. Yet, the shadows of Jake's wealth loomed larger and larger in the background, an unexpected storm ready to cloud their shared joy. Then the inevitable happened. Jake's father, a stiff man with a stern expression, learned of his son's secret friendship. He confronted him with ice in his voice, "You're better than that, Jake. Don't waste your time with them." Lily's heart sank as Jake stood at the crossroads of their vastly different worlds. Would he choose loyalty to his father's ruthless ideals, or dare to follow the warmth of his heart? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As winter deepened, so did the tension. The community rallied around Lily, recognizing her unwavering spirit. They saw her courage and began confronting what it meant to be truly wealthy. The more Jake stood with Lily, the more he felt the gnawing doubt of pleasing a father. Would he be prepared to confront the man who embodied everything he'd always been expected to be? Amid the swirling snow, the air crackled with possibility. Lily stood steadfast, her dreams flickering in the dim light of her diner, persona battling that of a determined boy caught between wealth and friendship. The question loomed large: would Jake have the courage to defy expectations for the sake of the bond they had formed? And would Lily finally believe in her own worth amidst a world that seemed determined to keep her down? Their journey, accentuated by the settling frost, teetered on the edge of something profound. Would they leap into the unknown or be buried beneath the cold weight of doubt? The sun peaked on the horizon, casting a soft golden light on the snowy landscape. It was a new day, but the lingering tension from Jake's father's confrontation still hung in the air. Lily felt it as she opened the diner, the familiar bell above the door ringing softly. Each morning, she put on her brave face, but today it felt heavier than usual. She wiped down the counters, her mind racing with thoughts of Jake. Was he okay? Did he talk to his father? The worries clung to her like snowflakes on her eyelashes, each one a reminder of the worlds they came from. Just as the first customers trickled in, the door swung open. Jake stood there, bundled against the cold, cheeks flushed from the chill and something else, determination, perhaps. As he stepped inside, their eyes met, and in that fleeting moment, they both forgot the mountain of expectation surrounding them. "Hey, I was just about to make some cocoa," Lily said, trying to sound light even as her heart raced. "You want some?" "Yeah, I'd love that," Jake replied, sliding onto a stool at the counter. As she prepared their drinks, the steam from the mugs swirled around her like a warm hug. She took a deep breath, mustering the courage to ask the question that hovered between them like the snowfall outside. "So how did it go with your father? Did you talk?" Jake looked away, his fingers tracing the rim of his cup. The silence stretched, filled with unspoken fears. Finally, he sighed, a deep, weary sound. "Not really. He doesn't understand. He thinks I should be hanging out with, well, kids from my own world, you know." Lily's heart ached for him. "But he doesn't know you, Jake. You're not just a rich kid. You're kind, you care. Why do you think he doesn't see that?" He met her gaze, and the vulnerability in his blue eyes brought tears to her own. I think it scares him," he admitted. "The thought of me wanting something different. Something real." The diner's clatter faded into the background as they sank into the moment, the connection between them intensifying. Each heartbeat felt like a promise, a shared dream that was worth fighting for. But just then, the door swung open again with a gust of cold air. It was Mrs. Thompson, the town's eyes and ears, her expression tight as she spotted the two of them. "Jake!" she exclaimed, her voice sharp. Jake straightened up, guilt flashing across his face. "Mrs. Thompson, your father is worried sick. You shouldn't be here with." She gestured toward Lily, the contempt dripping from her words. "You know how he feels about them." Something inside Lily snapped. "With all due respect, Mrs. Thompson, this isn't about money or status. It's about friendship." The diner's atmosphere shifted, tension crackling as the other patrons fell quiet. Lily's cheeks flushed, her voice shaky but firm. She had never stood up to someone like this before. Jake watched her, his heart swelling with admiration. In that moment, he recognized the fierce spirit that drew him to her. But as Mrs. Thompson huffed and stormed out, words unresolved hung heavily between them. "Lily," Jake said softly, the weight of her bravery sinking in, "what if we just didn't care? What if we continued to be us?" That question hung in the air like a snowflake, fragile, beautiful, and yet teetering on the edge of falling. Would they find a way to embrace who they were together or be torn apart by the expectations of those around them? As they exchanged glances, the world outside the diner continued to swirl with snow, a tempest building. Would they take that daring leap together, or would the friction of their opposing worlds pull them apart? The air around them was charged with a decision that could change everything. The fear of the unknown loomed, but so did the warmth of hope. Would they find the strength to stand together, despite the storm ahead? Jake's heart raced in unison with the swirling snow outside. The bitter cold was nothing compared to the dread that settled deep in his stomach after Mrs. Thompson's abrupt departure. Her words had stung not just for him but for Lily as well. He turned his attention back to her. The warmth of the diner felt like comfort, contrasting sharply with the chill of the confrontation. "Lily," he started again, earning her full focus. "You have no idea how much that meant to me. What you said, it was brave." A soft blush crept across her cheeks. She ducked her head, fiddling with the edge of her apron, a shy smile peeking through. "I just couldn't stand by and let her talk to you like that," she murmured, lifting her gaze back to his. "You deserve better. We both do." The weight of her sincerity wrapped around him like a cozy blanket, igniting a flame of resolve he hadn't known he needed. "I want to fight for this, whatever this is between us," he said, his voice steady and sincere. "But my dad, he won't make it easy." Lily nodded, her expression serious. "I know. But maybe we can start small. Just be us, away from all the noise." "Yeah," he replied, a flicker of hope sparking in his chest. "I'd like that." A place where we can just breathe. Their moment hung, a silent agreement forming beneath the weighty air of uncertainty. Just then, the door swept open again, sending a rush of frigid air inside. This time it was Tommy, one of J's school friends, his eyes darting between them nervously. "Jake, you're going to get in trouble if your dad finds out you're here," he blurted out. Jake's heart sank as he took in the other boy's worried face. "I can handle my dad, Tommy. I'm figuring things out," he said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Tommy shook his head, eyes glancing anxiously at Lily. "I'm just saying I overheard him talking to Mrs. Thompson. He's really upset about you being here, and he definitely doesn't want you hanging around Lily or anyone like her." Each word cut deeper than the last, and Lily's expression shifted, a cloud of disappointment settling in her features. She forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Maybe we should just, keep things friendly for now," she suggested, her voice soft. "Lily, no," Jake said before he could think. "That's not what I want. And it's not fair to you. I should be the one to deal with my dad." Pain flickered in her eyes. "But Jake, I don't want you to get hurt because of me. I don't want to be the reason you face more trouble with your family." He reached across the counter, brushing his fingers against hers. "You're not a burden. You're the best part of my day." Suddenly, the door swung open again, and this time it was Jake's father, a looming figure rooted in frustration and surprise. "Jake! There you are!" he boomed. Both of them froze, hearts pounding in unison. Jake's hand slipped away from Lily's, and all at once, she felt a wave of panic wash over her. "Oh no," she whispered, realizing the storm that was about to unfold. As Jake's father stepped inside, his eyes narrowing at Lily, the weight of their decision loomed heavily in the air. Would Jake stand his ground, defy his father's expectations for the sake of friendship and something deeper? Or would fear win, shackling him back to the shadow of his father's disapproval? The diner's warmth felt increasingly fragile under the flickering tension. Would they rise together, or would the icy grip of judgment pull them apart for good? Jake felt the weight of his father's presence like a thunderstorm approaching. The diner that had felt like a sanctuary moments before was now fraught with tension. His father stood at the entrance, imposing and stern, eyes boring into Jake with a mixture of anger and confusion. Lily's hand recoiled from Jake's warmth as she instinctively shrank back, pulling her apron tighter around her like a shield. Jake wanted to reach for her again, to show her that nothing had changed between them, that their quiet moments stood firm against the gale of his father's arrival. "Dad," Jake began, but his father interrupted, voice booming and impatient. "Don't dad me. You're skipping practice, and for what? To hang out with this girl?" He pointed toward Lily, his disdain palpable. "Dad, it's not like that," Jake replied, his voice thickening with defiance. "Lily is my friend." "Friend?" His father scoffed, crossing his arms. "You think I don't know what this is? She's trouble, Jake. You have a responsibility to your family, to your future." Lily's shoulders tensed at the accusation, and her gaze dropped to the floor. Jake could see the hurt washing over her, and it made his blood boil. "Lily is not trouble," Jake retorted, stepping forward, fists clenching at his sides. "You have no idea how amazing she is." The words spilled from him, imbued with a conviction that surprised even him. His father flinched but pressed on, voice low and menacing. "You're making a mistake. Hanging out with people like her will ruin everything I've built for you. You are bigger than this, Jake. Don't let her drag you down." Jake shook his head, a fire igniting in his heart. "You don't even know her. You don't know what it's like for us. You only care about your image." Lily's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't what she wanted. Jake standing up for her only intensified the storm. "Jake," she whispered, her eyes pleading with him to stop. "Maybe we should just talk about this later." "No," Jake said, feeling the panic rising in him. I don't want to hide anymore, not from him or anyone else. His father narrowed his eyes, the icy silence stretching between them thick like the snowstorm outside. For a moment, the world fell away, and it was just the three of them: Jake, his father's unyielding stare, and Lily's quiet desperation. Jake, listen, his father began again, voice softer but no less firm. I care about your future. This, whatever this is, it won't end well. You'll thank me someday. The words felt like a slap, and Jake felt the weight of expectation pouring down on him. But he was done being crushed by it. What if I don't want what you want? He challenged, feeling breathless from the exchange. Lily stepped back behind the diner counter, embarrassment and fear rewriting her earlier bravado. This was her battle, she was growing uneasy in the spotlight. That's not an option, son, his father replied, cold and unyielding. Jake could feel the walls closing in, the laughter of the diner patrons just a distant echo. But there was one defining choice he had to make between the life design his father planned for him, and the unpredictable, messy reality of being with Lily. He turned to her, seeking a shred of reassurance, but all he saw was hurt reflected back at him. Lily, but before he could finish, his father stepped closer, looming over both of them. You need to think carefully about this, Jake. In that moment, with his father's words hanging heavily in the space between them, Jake realized he was standing at a precipice. Where would he leap? Would it be towards the unknown or back into the safety of his father's shadow? And deep down, he feared he might just lose everything he was beginning to cherish. The diner grew quieter, every pair of eyes now glued to their triangular standoff. Hearts raced, and for what felt like forever, Jake knew he had to make a choice. Would he fight for Lily, or would he turn back to his father's version of a successful life? The stillness broke when he found his voice again, but it was laced with uncertainty. I need to think. But the moment passed, leaving more questions than answers swirling around. As he stepped back, the world felt more fragile than ever, and the tension promised that this confrontation was far from over. With that weight settling like lead in his chest, Jake found himself wondering, how far was he willing to go, and what would he sacrifice to carve out a life that felt like his own? Jake stood there, the diner's chatter reducing to a distant hum as the gravity of his situation crashed over him. His father's glare felt like a spotlight, hot and suffocating, while Lily's hurt gaze pierced through his heart like a knife. He wanted to scream. Just because things had always gone one way in his life didn't mean it had to stay that way. As he looked between his father and Lily, he was torn. Memories flickered like broken glass, the expectations, the sacrifices, the dreams that seemed to vanish the moment his dad walked into the room. Jake, this isn't just about you, his father said, folding his arms tighter across his chest. This is about the whole family. Your mother, your brother, they're counting on you to make the right choices. But how could any choice feel right when it meant losing Lily? Right for you. Jake fired back, each word a mix of anger and desperation. You don't get to decide what's right for me, Dad. I'm not your puppet. Lily's silence was deafening. She stood behind the counter, her apron now a cocoon of anxieties and insecurities. Jake could see the effect this confrontation had on her. She was shrinking further away from him, and it burned inside him like fire. Do you really want to throw everything away for a girl? His father spat, the disdain so thick, Jake could almost choke on it. She's not just a girl. She's the words lodged in his throat. How could he explain what Lily meant to him without sounding foolish? She's someone who actually sees me. Lily finally looked up, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, and Jake felt the world tilt. He didn't want her to cry, he wanted to stand tall beside her, not watch her wilt under his father's scorn. Jake, she whispered, her voice barely audible amidst the tension, maybe I should just go. No. The word burst from his mouth. The thought of her walking away was unbearable. Please, don't. I don't want to lose you. Then what are you going to do? Lily asked, and her voice cracked, pulling at every piece of him that ached to protect her. Jake's heart raced. The whole diner seemed to hold its breath, waiting for his answer. With all eyes fixed on them, he felt the weight of the world crash in. What if he lost both? His father's expectations and Lily's trust. "Dad, I'm not throwing my future away. I'm building a new one that I want. With Lily." The words tasted like freedom, and for the first time, Jake felt a flicker of hope. "Do you even know what that means?" His father shot back, incredulity painted across his face. "It means taking a chance. It means having a life that's mine, not just an upgrade of yours," Jake replied, finding strength in the conviction blossoming inside him. There was a moment of silence that felt like a pause before the storm. Jake could feel his heart pounding, each beat echoing louder than the last. "Jake," his father began, frustration mixed with a hint of something softer, something like sorrow. But Jake was done being the good son. "This is my decision, not yours." The diner atmosphere shifted, conversations resumed around them, but Jake remained locked in the moment. He could see the diner staff exchanging glances, waiting on the outcome, and he realized this was bigger than just them. This was about standing firm in his choices, even when facing a hurricane. "What will it take for you to understand? You're chasing an impossible dream, Jake," his father warned, his voice low and laden with urgency. "Maybe it's not impossible," Jake countered, eyes never leaving Lily's. The connection between them sparked like electricity, and suddenly, everything became clear. But as his father prepared to respond, the bell above the diner door tinkled. A new figure stepped in, familiar yet unexpected, someone who could turn the tide. Jake's heart skipped a beat. Would this new arrival bring more chaos to his world or a lifeline? "Who?" his father growled, shifting his gaze to the door, leaving Jake to wonder, was this the moment everything changed? Jake's breath hitched as he turned to face the newcomer. It was Sarah. They had been inseparable in high school, best friends with dreams of leaving their small town. Life had taken them on different paths, and seeing her now felt like staring into a long-forgotten mirror. "Jake!" Her voice rang out, bright and cutting through the murmur of the diner. The moment their eyes met, something shifted within him, a sense of comfort, a bond that had never truly vanished. "What are you doing here?" he asked, suddenly feeling the weight of his father's glare shift to her. But Sarah's focus was all on Jake. "I heard you were back in town. I wanted to see you." She stepped closer, the diner's warmth hugging her like a familiar quilt. It felt good to have her there, like an anchor in the storm that was his family. "Not the best reunion, huh?" Jake replied, attempting a light tone, although the heaviness in the room wrapped around them all like a thick fog. "Looks like you could use some help." She glanced at Lily, whose face had fallen, the sparkle that had drawn Jake to her now shadowed by uncertainty. "Help?" Jake echoed, a wave of confusion washing over him. What help could Sarah possibly provide in this mess? His father began to drum his fingers on the table, impatience clear in his posture. "This isn't any of your business. Jake needs to focus on what's important." "Maybe what's important is different for Jake than it is for you," Sarah interjected, her eyes narrowing. "You don't get to dictate who he should be or what he should want." Time hung heavy as everyone absorbed Sarah's words. A faint flicker of admiration ignited within Jake. He had always appreciated her fierce spirit. "Your dad doesn't know enough about you, Jake," Sarah said, lowering her voice, just loud enough for him to hear over the clamor of the diner. "You grew up, and you have every right to choose what makes you happy. Do you see what you're doing?" His father exclaimed, frustration dripping from every word. "This is a distraction. You've got to think about your responsibilities, Jake. Your family." "I want to be more than just a responsibility," Jake shot back, desperation anchoring his words. "I want a life worth living. A life that feels like my own. But look at your future." His dad pleaded, gesturing at the menu as if it contained the blueprint to Jake's destiny. You can have everything if you just follow the plan. The plan was never mine, Jake said, shaking his head. He could feel Lily's eyes boring into him, a mixture of hope and fear mingling within them. Sarah's presence was a bomb against the chaos. Forget the plan for a moment. What if you just thought about what you truly want? Who do you want to be? It was a question that made the room spin slightly. As he stood there, caught between his father's expectations and the genuine connection he shared with Lily, something deep inside him whispered, this is the moment. He could either conform or break free. Suddenly, clarity washed over him. I'm going to figure this out. For me. But before anyone could respond, the door opened again. A tall figure strode in, soaking up attention like a sponge. Jake felt his heart race in his chest again. Who were they now bringing to shake things up further? Jake! The newcomer called out with an exuberance that felt like a slap in the face, drawing everyone's eyes. The familiar face was too close for comfort, and Jake braced himself. Looks like things just got a lot more complicated, he muttered under his breath, fear and anticipation swirling together. Would this person push him further into turmoil or grant him the strength he needed to stand his ground? As they turned to see who had burst into the diner, Jake felt a surge of dread. It was Marcus, his childhood rival, the golden boy everyone adored. He was taller than he remembered, his presence commanding as he strode toward their table with a wide grin. Jake! Man, it's been too long. Marcus clapped him hard on the back, knocking the breath out of him. It felt like a thunderstorm had rolled in over what had started out as a fragile dawn. Hey, Marcus, Jake replied, forcing a smile, the weight of history and rivalry resting heavily on his shoulders. Behind him, Jake noticed Lily visibly tense. The diner, once filled with the comforting sounds of clinking plates and quiet chatter, now buzzed with curiosity. Eyes flitted toward Marcus and Jake, whispers cascaded through the crowd. Can't believe you're back, Marcus continued, his voice booming. You should come by the old high school. They're doing a reunion next month. Everyone's dying to see you. It'll be great. He turned, gesturing grandly, oblivious to the tension radiating from Jake. I'm not sure, Jake stammered, caught between the memory of his youthful dreams and the staggering reality of his father's expectations. Come on, it'll be fun. Who knows, maybe the old gang will rekindle some of those dreams you let slip. Marcus winked, and in that instant, Jake felt that familiar fire of competition. But it was mingled with frustration. Did Marcus not see that he was struggling to find himself in this twisted mess? Sarah stepped in, her voice steady but soft. You know, not everyone is interested in going back to the past. Sometimes moving forward is what matters most. What's that supposed to mean? Marcus shot back, confusion darkening his features. He rarely faced resistance. Just that not everyone shapes their future around a high school reunion, Sarah said, standing her ground. There was an energy in the room, a spark igniting awareness among the onlookers. Jake caught Lily's eye, her expression a mixture of admiration and concern. She seemed to understand the silent battle raging within him. Maybe you're right, Marcus finally conceded, his bravado dimming slightly. The casual air he wore like armor began to crack. But, Jake, you have people who want to see you happy. Don't you want that? It was a question that dug deep. Jake felt raw and exposed, each heartbeat a reminder of the tension that filled the space around them. Did he want happiness? Did it even exist if it meant fulfilling someone else's vision? His father shifted in his seat, irritation etched into his brow, while Sarah's unwavering gaze urged him to find his voice. Being happy doesn't mean going back to a place where I felt trapped, Jake finally said, each word a release. I need to forge my own path. A hush fell over the diner. Even Marcus looked taken aback. Wise choice, Marcus replied slowly, surprise flickering in his eyes. But you've got to give it a chance. You don't want to miss out on what could be amazing. Jake opened his mouth to reply, but before he could, an unexpected sound cracked through the charged atmosphere, his phone buzzing frantically in his pocket. He pulled it out, glancing down to see a text from his mother. "Urgent. We need to talk. Now." His heart raced. "I have to go," he murmured, looking between Sarah and Lily, and then back to his father, who was now silently watching with a mix of concern and triumph. "Jake," Sarah called as he turned toward the door. "Don't forget what you said, you're figuring this out for you. Don't let anyone take that away from you." He nodded, propelled into the unknown, but memories of their childhood dreams lingering on his mind. As he stepped outside, determination filled him. He would navigate this tangled web, no matter where it led. But as the door swung shut behind him, he couldn't shake the feeling that something much larger was at play, and the weight of decisions loomed larger than he had anticipated. What awaited him beyond that diner? What discovery would he find when he stepped into his mother's world, the world defined by his family's expectations? The air outside was brisk, biting against Jake's skin as he hurried toward his car. His heart thudded against his chest, echoing the urgency of his mother's text. What could be so important now? He fumbled with his keys, glancing around at the quiet street. The diner's neon lights glowed behind him, a stark contrast to the muted darkness ahead. Thoughts of Marcus and that gaping reunion invitation loomed in his mind, but they were quickly overshadowed by worry for his mother. As he slid into the driver's seat, his phone buzzed again. Another message. "I'm at home. Please hurry." The tension knotted tighter in his gut. She sounded shaken. The drive was a blur, the road illuminated only by street lamps. Memories swirled like autumn leaves in his mind, his mother's laughter, the softness of her guiding hand, the way she'd always known when he needed encouragement. But he couldn't ignore that the laughter was becoming scarce, replaced with distance and emotion too heavy for words. Pulling into the driveway, he noticed the house was dark except for the flickering light in the kitchen. He stepped out, the crunch of the gravel echoing in the stillness. Inside, the warmth from the kitchen enveloped him, but the air felt tense. His mother stood at the counter, her back turned to him, a mug clasped in her hands. The way her shoulders hunched told him her heart was burdened. "Mom," he said softly, crossing the room. She turned, her tired eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Jake," she whispered, relief flooding her voice. "What is going on? You said it was urgent." He felt a swell of emotion rising in him as he took in the worry lines etched on her face. I didn't want to worry you," she began, her voice trembling. "But your father hasn't been himself lately. He's stressed about work, and it's taking a toll on our relationship. I thought you should know because Mom, is he okay?" Jake interrupted, panic emerging. He saw her eyes widen, understanding the protective instinct he always had for her. She set her mug down, taking a deep breath. "I'm worried he might be hiding something." "Something like what?" Jake asked, fear creeping into his voice. "There have been financial issues, Jake. I didn't want to involve you, but if things don't change," her voice cracked. He felt ice coil around his heart. The very thought of financial strain in their family was foreign, a theme from movies, not his life. "Is that why he's been tense at the diner?" "Yes," she said, nodding as tears threatened to spill. "He doesn't want you to worry, but you're his son. You deserve to know the truth." Jake ran a hand through his hair, frustration and confusion swirling inside him. It felt like walls were closing in, and he struggled to catch his breath. "I can't believe he's been going through this alone." "Neither can I," she replied, stepping closer. "I need your help to confront him. We have to face it together, no matter how hard it is." A moment of stillness settled between them, dangerous and profound. The family fabric was unraveling, and they stood at the precipice. "Okay," Jake finally said, steeling himself. "Let us do it. Together." Just then, a loud crashing noise echoed from upstairs. Jake's heart raced at the sound. What was that? He demanded, instinctively stepping protectively in front of her. His mother's eyes widened. I don't know, I wasn't expecting anyone else. They exchanged glances filled with uncertainty, adrenaline surging through them. Sounds like we're not done for the night, Jake muttered grimly. As they cautiously stepped toward the staircase, a thought flickered in his mind: what secrets lay hidden not only in the shadows of their family but also within the walls of their home? What awaited them upstairs? Would the truth be worth the confrontation? As Jake and his mother climbed the staircase, the atmosphere thickened with every creak of the wood beneath their feet. Each step echoed the questions swirling in his mind. What had just happened? Was his father really hiding something deeper, or was this simply the weight of worry amplified by stress? Reaching the top, they paused outside the door that led to his father's study. The dim glow peeking through the cracks only heightened Jake's anxiety. Do you want me to go in first? He asked, glancing back at his mother. She shook her head. No. We'll go together. Whatever it is, we need to face it. Her voice was a mix of apprehension and resolve. The bond between them had fortified in those brief moments, and Jake felt a flicker of courage. Together, they pushed the door open. The scene before them felt surreal. Papers were scattered everywhere: documents, bills, and even a half-packed suitcase lying in the corner. His father stood in the middle of the room, frozen in surprise. A bottle of whiskey dangled from his fingers, ominous and telling. Dad? Jake's voice came out sharper than he intended. His father turned, his eyes darkened by a mix of fear and defiance. Jake, his father stammered, but the words seemed lost. What is going on? Jake pressed. Mom said you've been stressed. Is it about work? His father's gaze shifted downward, guilt etched on his face like an unyielding shadow. It's more complicated than that, son, he finally admitted, his voice low. How can it be more complicated? Are you in trouble? If this is about money, his father shook his head, cutting him off. This isn't just about money, Jake. It's about choices I've made. Mistakes that are affecting us all. Jake felt a lump in his throat, the weight of his father's words settling like a stone. What kind of mistakes? His mother stepped forward, determination painted across her features. We're in this together, remember? Whatever you're hiding, it's time to share. There was a prolonged silence, and Jake's heart raced as he watched his father struggle to find the right words. Finally, he dropped the whiskey bottle onto the desk. It tipped over but remained unbroken. I've been gambling, okay? I thought I could make some money to solve our issues, but it spiraled out of control. Jake's world wobbled. The jigsaw of their lives suddenly felt incompletely assembled, pieces of a puzzle that were never meant to fit together. Gambling? He echoed, disbelief lacing his voice. How could you? I thought it would help, his father urged, desperation flooding his tone. I didn't want you or your mother to worry. I wanted to fix things. I thought I could catch up. But every time I thought things were getting better, I just buried us deeper. His mother gasped softly, stepping back. The pain in her eyes was sharper than anything Jake had felt before. You've been carrying this alone. All this time. I didn't want to admit how bad it had gotten. His father whispered, the cracks in his voice pleading for understanding. Jake felt a surge of frustration and heartbreak rise in him. You should have trusted us. We're a family. We can face anything if we do it together. But secrets? This? It's tearing us apart. His father looked up, meeting Jake's piercing gaze, a whirlwind of emotions playing across his expression. I'm so sorry. I thought I could protect you, and just like that, the confrontation shifted from blame to an unexpected realization. They had stumbled upon a truth more harrowing than the financial burden and emotional chasm that needed bridging. Maybe we can find a way out of this, Jake finally said, piecing himself together. But we have to do it as a family. No more hiding. The silence enveloped them, but from that silence emerged an agreement, a chance to heal the fractures. But just as Jake took a step forward to embrace his father, the shrill sound of his phone vibrating on the desk jolted them back. It was a text. He glanced at the screen, and the blood drained from his face. "Jake, I think you need to see this," he said, his voice trembling. What could be so urgent now? Had their concerns just escalated to a new level? His heart raced, fear settling in again. Was this another twist in their unraveling story? Jake stood frozen, the sickly knot of anxiety tightening in his stomach. The phone buzzed again, sending a spike of adrenaline through him. "What now?" he murmured, barely able to process the chaos surrounding him. "What does it say?" his mother asked, glancing at him, eyes wide with worry. Jake quickly unlocked his phone. The text lit up the screen, and he felt his breath quicken. "It's from Marcus," he said, voice shaky. "He's at the diner and he says something's wrong." His father's eyes sharpened, a flicker of panic cutting through the heaviness in the room. "What do you mean wrong? What's happening?" "I don't know. He just says I need to come back now." Jake's heart raced. The warmth of their shared moment was replaced by an urgent chill. "Let us go," his mother urged, moving toward the door. "Whatever's happening, we'll face it together." Jake nodded, resolve igniting within him as they rushed downstairs. He could feel the tremors of worry rippling through his family, but this time, they were united together to confront whatever awaited them. In the car, the silence buzzed with tension. Jake clutched the steering wheel tightly, the weight of each heartbeat echoing in his ears. He could imagine the diner, the place that had been a sanctuary, now filled with uncertainty and whispers. Racing into the parking lot, the illuminated sign flickered like a beacon urging him forward. As they piled out of the car, the air crackled with anticipation. They pushed through the door, the familiar jingle of the bell now tinged with an electric anxiety. Inside, the diner's warmth enveloped them, but it did little to mask the tension thrumming through the air. Patrons were gathered near the back, their hushed voices rippling like a wave across the floor. "Marcus!" Jake called out, searching the crowd. The sight of him standing next to Lily, a concerned look on her face, made Jake's heart leap. "Jake, thank God you're here!" Marcus exclaimed, relief washing over his features. "There's something you need to know." "What is going on?" Jake asked, his voice urgent as he stepped closer, his family close behind. "It's about your dad," Marcus said, glancing over his shoulder, as if the walls were listening. "He was just here doing something." "Doing what?" Jake could feel a storm brewing inside him. "He was talking with Mrs. Thompson," Marcus explained, hesitating, as if the truth tethered in the air. "He was signing something that looked like a deal. It didn't feel right. She mentioned money, Jake, and it didn't seem good." Jake felt like the room spun. "My dad's been struggling with gambling, and now he's making deals. It doesn't make sense. He was just with us." Lily's hand reached out, finding his. It was a small gesture, but it anchored him, reminded him they were together in this. "Let us talk to him," she urged softly. Jake's heart pounded as he gripped her hand tighter. "Right. Together." They made their way toward the back of the diner, where they found his father, flanked by Mrs. Thompson. The air was thick with tension, her sharp voice cutting through the surrounding hum of conversations. "I told you, it's time to finalize this deal, Richard. You can't afford to keep stalling." "No!" Jake shouted, stepping forward, fueled by the roaring fire of the truth. "You don't have to do this, Dad. This isn't the solution to your problems." His father glanced over, surprise flashing across his face. "Jake, what are you thinking?" Jake interrupted, voice steady despite the chaos inside him. "You told us you wanted to fix this, but this isn't fixing anything. You're just digging deeper." Mrs. Thompson scoffed, "And who are you to tell him what to do?" He has bigger concerns than your childish notions about friendship. Nobody's discussing friendships here. Jake shot back, the heat in his voice rising. We're talking about family. We're in this together, and hiding will only make it worse. His father's face shifted, pain and remorse reflected in his eyes. Jake, enough. Jake pressed, his heart thumping like a drum. You can't keep making deals like this and think it won't affect us. You taught me better. Don't you want to fix this for real? His father lowered his gaze, a crack forming in the facade he built. I thought I could handle it, that this would be the way to protect you, to protect our family. Instead, you've only driven us further apart, Jake said, a mix of disappointment and resolve solidifying within him. But we can change that. We can fight for this, together. Lily squeezed his hand once more, and he could feel her quiet strength surging through him. His father took a shuddering breath, vulnerability creeping into his expression. I didn't know where to turn, I didn't want to seem weak. Being brave isn't about hiding, Jake said, pushing forward, unwavering. It's about being honest, facing the mess we're in. We're strong enough to fight this together. The diner buzzed with whispers as the patrons witnessed their confrontation. Mrs. Thompson frowned, the reality settling heavily. People are expecting you to make the right choices, Richard, she muttered, but Jake saw the uncertainty in her eyes. Maybe it's time to redefine what right means, Marcus said firmly, stepping beside Jake. And perhaps that's including your family in the decisions that actually matter. With the weight of the moment hanging heavy, Jake's father looked at him, the boy he sheltered now standing bravely before him, facing the storm head-on. All right, he finally admitted, a tremor of authenticity in his voice. Let's talk, really talk. As the warmth of hope wrapped around them, Jake could feel uncertainty shifting toward a new horizon. The burden lessened, and his father's reluctant acceptance of their struggle felt like the first step toward rebuilding, a step they would take together. Embroidered through the laughter and chatter of the diner, Jake caught a glimpse of a brighter future, one born from honesty, and the unyielding love of family. In that moment, he realized something vital. Standing firm didn't signify losing everything, it meant finally discovering what truly mattered. In the rush of emotions filling the diner, he found himself feeling hopeful imprints of change, each heartbeat reminding him that they were in this together, and it was only the beginning of rewriting their family's story. The air buzzed with the echo of new choices, and as they gathered together, warmth cascaded through them, proving love's strength against life's icy grip. Did this final chapter resonate with you? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because it truly makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of lifting each other up and embracing every story.